Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario. I know, a bit of an informal video, change of scenery and all that, but informal because I just have my laptop on me at the moment. For this video, I don't feel like I need to edit it. Now, what am I doing here? I'm going to be doing my press conference reviews, overviews, whatever you want to call them. I did the same thing with E3 2012 last year. A lot of people liked them, so I decided to go ahead and do it again this year. First off, of course, kicking off with the Microsoft press conference. It has literally been maybe like 2 or 3 minutes since it just finished, and I have everything. If I'm looking over this way, it's because I will be looking over at the notes that I typed up for this. I do, get a bit crazy with this. I don't know what you want to say, and I was just silencing my phone right here. But anyways, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. So first off, I just want to do some overviews of it. First off, this was at the end. The price was revealed. It is going to be $499 in the US, 499 euros, I believe, and then 429 pounds. So quite a bit steep for the console. Honestly, I am far from impressed. I believe that's too much for the system. I mean, it is a cool looking system, don't get me wrong. It's going to have some great specs on it, but I would have definitely bought it if it was $400, but $500, that's pretty steep, especially as an adult. That's a month of rent, and that's cheap for rent. So I'm really going to have to wait on getting this system, to be honest, is what I'm thinking, unless something comes through. I mean, here's the issue. I know I'm going to have the money for it, but do I really want to drop $500 on launch? I really don't know. Next up is the release date. It has been confirmed that the release date is going to be November of 2013. So yes, you are going to have to get a turkey dinner when you get your Xbox One. So we already know that for sure. And of course, anything else on here that I felt like need to be said? No, nothing. Oh, one last thing before we get into the actual conference. There were 17 games. I might have miscounted, but 17 games that I counted, and only 3 of them. 3 of them were first-person shooters. So we were not diluted. We were not shoved down first-person shooters down our throats, which is really great. I was happy to see that. There were still people that were complaining. They were like, oh, well, 3 of those games are first-person shooters. So the other 14 games really don't matter to you. You're only upset because okay, I don't know how the logic goes behind that. And technically, one of them is going to be a first-person shooter, but it was not really revealed. It was just a teaser for it. So we'll go ahead and see. But first off, getting into it, there were delays with this conference. I didn't think it was that professional with that. It was delayed. There were a few hiccups during it, but, these things happen. But I was just surprised it was like a 5-minute delay at the beginning when it was said, it was going to be at 11:30 my time. And then it was still going on. But the room was huge. I never knew how huge that room was until I saw it on screen. It was crazy, you guys. So first off, so happy to see this game. Konami kicked it off with Metal Gear Solid 5, and what was the name of it again? I forgot the subtitle on it, The Phantom Pain. I had a bunch of other notes about it. But Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Personally, I am a big Metal Gear Solid fan. And this game is taking the whole Red Dead Redemption approach. They're going to be doing an open world aspect on it, and Old Snake is going to be in there. And by the way, they do not have David Hayter voicing Snake on this game because Kojima didn't feel like it really fit this game, which I kind of disagreed with, but the new voice actor is great. So I was really happy to see that there was something that opened up this conference that wasn't Call of Duty. That is what I was excited about. So, Microsoft, you did good right there. Now, it's not going to be an Xbox One exclusive. It can't be an Xbox One exclusive. It's definitely going to be on PlayStation 4. But very happy we got to see a nice reveal, an actual gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5. And let me just say, it looks pretty good. And I was watching it over streamed connection, so that really gimps the quality, but I was impressed with it. I thought it looked great. New close quarters combat, new features in the game. Quite happy to see that. So they were saying now there's going to be 13 next-gen titles that are only on Xbox One. So that went down a bit because at the conference in May, didn't they say 15 and 8 of them were going to be original IPs? But, I have no idea what happened with that. Now, there is going to be, this completely caught me off guard and I saw nothing about it. There's going to be a new Xbox 360. It is going to be like the 360 Slim, except it's going to run cooler. It's going to run quieter, I guess. And it's going to be smaller, but it's going to have a nice glossy finish that looks a lot like the Xbox One. So, you know what? Let's call it the Xbox 360 One. We'll call it that, and we'll be good. They said that it's going to be out today, and you know what? I know this is so rude to do on camera, but I'm going to go look on Amazon real quick while I'm talking about this and see if there is a new Xbox 360 out, because apparently they said that it's going to be out today. But the thing is, I saw no pricing information. I saw nothing about it, so I don't know what the deal is. I think they're probably just going to start selling it online today, which would be June 10th, but I really don't know because there were no leaks about it. I thought this is something that would get leaked. Now, if you follow my channel, you know I do quite a few mods and everything. I'm really excited to see the mods on this system because this is going to bring a whole new thing in. And I don't even know if modders are really going to go crazy with it, the people that actually, develop these programs and hardware. Just due to the fact that, the Xbox One is right around the corner. I don't know if they want to really waste their time with, another hardware revision of the 360. But as I call it, the Xbox 360 One, that is going to be coming out. No pricing details. No specs on it, like no hard drive specs or anything. So we don't know. I was kind of disappointed with that. I was shocked with it as well. But now they are saying gold membership is going to be even better. And now, if you have a gold membership, you're going to be getting 2 free games per month, which I called because this is going on right now, actually. If you're an Xbox Live Gold member, if you go onto the marketplace and look up Fable 3, you can get the full game for free. It only works for Gold members, but it happened sometime, early morning of June 10th, late night of June 9th, and people were predicting that this would happen, and it seems to be the thing. But Fable 3, I don't know if that's counted in it, but it seems to be free. Go ahead and cop that if you don't have it already, or even if you do have it on disc, you might as well get a digital copy of it. But 2 of the games that are going to be announced as free are Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3, which people are saying, oh, well, they should have picked better games. So, just because the games are quite a few years old, from, 2007, 2008, doesn't mean they're good. I don't know, you tell me. I mean, yes, they're very cheap games. You can pick up each game for like $5 or $10, but at the end of the day, they're free games and they're good games. So I think people were just upset because they were old, cheap games. And while I was kind of a bit offset with it as well, I guess you can say, I'll still take them at the end of the day. Because I pay for Xbox Live Gold, I might as well get what I deserve. So, now they also said something that was never done on consoles are going to be coming to the 360, and that is, as they announced, World of Tanks Xbox 360 Edition. So this is pretty much one of the few Xbox 360 games that they announced. They only announced a handful, which I'm really not surprised with, but the Xbox 360 Edition of World of Tanks, it looks really fun, and it's going to be free. So people complain about this, and I was like, well, it's a game, it's free. Happy Wars was also another free game. There were quite a few free games on there. This game is probably going to have microtransactions and such to, make up for some profits, but it does look really fun. It's going to be 15 versus 15, which is going to be awesome, so can't wait to play that. Also, fun fact, I did not know there were 48 million Xbox Live users. Can't even imagine that. 2 other games that are going to be coming to the 360. Max, The Curse of Brotherhood. It's pretty much an Xbox Live arcade game from what I saw, and you're this one kid called Max who gets annoyed with his little brother. I can relate, but he ends up finding a thing online that it's kind of like a chant that he can say to get rid of his brother, and then his brother disappears, so then he has to go through, and it's a platformer, like a 2D, 3D platformer, where he has to go and get his brother back. I don't know, it looks interesting, but definitely not a killer app. I wasn't impressed with it. It's not going to make me, throw my money at the screen, but I think it's something that, kids will enjoy, and I feel like families would enjoy it as well. And then they go from that to the nice family fun-filled game, to Dark Souls 2, which is the complete opposite, which makes people rage, which makes grown men scream and break controllers and consoles. Dark Souls 2, it's Dark Souls, except it's the second one. It definitely looks good, looks infuriating, and there were a lot of death scenes in that. So they know how to piss people off. They know how to get people to buy the game as well. People are very excited for it. Now, they said there are more titles in development now than any other time in Xbox history, which really doesn't surprise me, but awesome to know about. And now we went from the 360 to the Xbox One. So the first thing we see is a new IP called Rise, Son of Rome. First off, the graphics look dope on this game. They did a seamless transition from cutscene to gameplay. It looked good. It looked really good. But my fear for this game is it's either going to be good or it's going to be terrible. Like, there's it looks really promising, but there are a lot of things, there are a lot of ways that the developers can mess this game up. So I really hope it doesn't get messed up, but we're going to see what happens. So, I mean, another thing, this wasn't necessarily with the game, but I was watching the stream on my Xbox. You know, Microsoft, if you need a decent cameraman, you can go ahead and hire me. The reason why I'm saying that is because they were having all the screens like right here, and they would show you actual gameplay, but then they zoomed out while the gameplay was being shown to show the stage. And they do this at every E3, but this E3 annoyed me even more. And I'm like, if there's actual gameplay going on stage, I want to see the gameplay and nothing else. If there's people talking on stage, I want to see the people talking. So, Microsoft, it doesn't seem that hard. If there's stuff going on screen, stay zoomed into the screen itself. Do not zoom out so I can see the stage, because I don't want to see that. I really don't. But Rise is going to be a launch exclusive, so that'll be a nice launch title that you can pick up. And we're going to have a reboot of Killer Instinct on the Xbox One, which is definitely good to have. They came out, they said, we listened, and Killer Instinct is back only on Xbox One. So definitely looks fun, looks very intense, and they showed footage from this game twice. So very fun looking game. Can't wait to play that. Now, Insomniac are now going to be working on the Xbox One. They've already released Fuse, which came out a few weeks ago for the 360. And if you don't know who they are, they've worked on Resistance, Spyro, Ratchet & Clank. So it kind of looks like Microsoft pulled them over to the dark side from Sony. But they have a new game coming out called Sunset Overdrive, and it's all facilitated by cloud. It's a living world. It can change in real time, and the users are able to change everything somehow. So I'd like to see how this goes. It kind of reminded me of how, if you don't play Fable for a while and you come back, you get a bunch of gold for all the time that you left. State of Decay also is a game that came out on Xbox Live Arcade. That's a game where, you kind of have to almost babysit your characters, and if you leave your game alone for a few days, characters die and things like that. So it seems like it'd be like that, but I saw the footage, and honestly, my stream cut out at this point, but when I came back, I was able to catch the last bit, and I don't know what the game is about. Like, I really don't know. But I don't know what Insomniac's doing. Insomniac's kind of gone downhill recently, but we'll see what happens. Now, one thing I thought Microsoft said, which was kind of funny, was supporting. They were talking about supporting independent game development, which I found ironic because indie developers have said they've had the worst experience with Microsoft, while Sony and Nintendo have welcomed them with open arms. So we're really going to see what happens with this. Hopefully, Microsoft can help out indie developers a little more, but we'll see what happens. Now, Minecraft Xbox One Edition is going to be coming out, and my God, look at those next-gen graphics really being pushed on the Xbox One for Minecraft. I mean, that's going to be the killer app for it, isn't it? Of course, they're going to be making a cash cow through that because it's Minecraft, but there's not much to say. I mean, it's Minecraft. What do you want me to say? They said there's going to be bigger worlds, there's going to be more things you can do, so they're pretty much trying to bring it even closer to the PC version, but I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Now, Quantum Break by Remedy. This is another Xbox One title, of course, an Xbox One exclusive. And Remedy, I love them as a company. They've done Max Payne. They've done, what else did they do? They did Alan Wake, which was really good. And Quantum Break is also going to be a TV show. And by the way, I was actually going to say this. I forgot, but I was going to say this at the beginning of this video. This is the only time they mentioned TV twice. They mentioned TV twice. This is one of the times where they mentioned television. And the second time was when they were talking about the Halo TV show, which I'll get into. But they did stay faithful to their promises. They showed games, and they had pretty much no TV references, which was great, unlike, the May press conference. But Quantum Break looks really good. It looks good, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's supposed to be like an interactive thing between the TV show and the game, so this is like one of the first times they're going to be doing this in history, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, I want to say there's room to mess up it, but at the same time, it's Remedy, and Remedy has never let me down. So they're definitely a AAA title company. We're going to see what happens with this. One thing I was disappointed, though, is that it might have just been the stream, and also the game is in alpha, maybe even beta, I'm sure, but I noticed some jaggies in it, which I was kind of disappointed with, but they still have months to refine it, so we'll see what happens. Now, D4... another game, it looked cool, but we just saw, like a 30-second teaser, so that's a game that's going to be an Xbox One exclusive. We know nothing about it. Project Spark looked really cool. At first, I was like, what is this game? What are we trying to do here? Because it looked like they were trying to combine like SimCity with Spore for consoles is what it looked like. But it actually looks very impressive when they showed, what people can do. Pretty much, it's a game about making game, kind of like RPG Maker, Fighter Maker, anything like that. Except, you can use your Kinect, you can use your Smart Glass, you can say, layout, this foundation, we want it to be at this time, all this, and you can build your own world, which is really cool, really impressive to see. And the maps they did with this were really cool. And to me, it kind of reminded me of Little Big Planet, SimCity, Gary's Mod. It reminded me of stuff like that, but I definitely want to see how this plays out. So we're going to see how this all goes. Now, they've really been pushing Smart Glass during this conference, and if you don't know, Smart Glass is an application that you can get. I can actually load it up on my phone real quick while I am talking about it, but it's an application. You can get it for iOS or you can get it for Android. It works on phones, tablets, anything like that. And they're going to, I don't care about that. I was just getting a random update on here. But no, essentially what you can do is you can connect to your Xbox, you can get onto your Xbox Live account, all this stuff. It's something like this. Like, you can access everything on here, which is nice to see, but I don't know. Like, right, it's pretty lackluster, to be honest. I'm really not impressed with it. Like, you have it right here, you can respond to your messages and all that, but they're really going to be making it more user-friendly, but also they're going to give you a reason to use Smart Glass is what I'm trying to say. Like, now they're going to have it so that you can use it alongside your console, while you're playing a game, like any type of game. There's going to be things that you can compare with. There's going to be a lot of stats on it, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of Smart Glass as is, so we're going to see how it is. It looks cool, but we'll see what happens. Now, they've also announced that there's going to be a Tournament Edition Mad Catz fighting stick for anybody interested in fighting sticks that's going to be coming out on launch, and the developer of Killer Instinct was actually using it. One thing I did like is Upload Studio, which means that there is now a DVR, a digital video recorder, built in to your Xbox One, which is going to be nice, just like the PlayStation 4, so you could record your own footage and all that, because, unfortunately, if you do have an HD PVR or anything like that, or like me, like an Elgato, anything like a PVR, chances are you probably won't be able to use it next gen. The thing with that is that Microsoft is going to be doing HDMI only, same with PlayStation, so that really means that, PlayStation's not 100% confirmed, but that's what I'm predicting. But it looks like they're going to be leaning towards HDMI. HDMI, they're going to have HDCP encryption on it, which means you're not going to be able to go through HDMI on your consoles, which kind of sucks if you want to record directly to your laptop or your computer or something, which is what I'd still like to do. So I'd really like to see how YouTube works out next generation. We'll see what happens. But there's a built-in editing studio you're able to share with people, and there's built-in Twitch streaming. So Johnny Guns, we might want to get on that. Might see what happens. Now, apparently they've said that now you are no longer on Xbox One limited to 100 people on your friends list, so now they were saying that you can talk to anybody you've played with. Microsoft, it would have been nicer if you just gave us a number. Just say you no longer have a limit on your friends list, you have a 500 person limit, you have a 1,000 person limit. I feel like they could have just told us that, and it would have been a lot easier. They're going to be shifting now from Microsoft points to local currency, so US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, pounds, anything like that. They're going to be going to local currency now, which is going to clear up quite a bit of confusion. And Xbox Live Gold sharing. The way this works is, for example, with my family, I'm the only person who has Xbox Live Gold. Now, we don't have, our family Xboxes connected online. I'm the only one that connects online whenever I want to play. But the way we're going to be working is, like, for example, let's say, I have my younger brothers, or I have my dad or my mom that they want to play on my system. They can all have separate accounts. However, if I have Xbox Live Gold, if I have my account on there, they can all still sign into their own personal accounts, but then use Xbox Live Gold and even play online while I'm paying for it, which is going to be really nice. But let's see how it's exploited. I'm not sure about that. So here, next up, from the people who made Panzer Dragoon and Phantom Dust, comes Crimson Dragon. It looks good, but the audio cut out right here. There was a trailer playing, a really cool looking trailer, but there was only audience audio. There was no audio from the actual trailer. Again, this is only a trailer, they didn't show any footage, but it does look great. Next, we have from Capcom Dead Rising 3, and this game looks so good. The graphics look good, the gameplay looks insane. I was impressed with it, I really was. Dead Island had a had a really good influence on it, I want to say, because it looks a lot like Dead Island, but it's third person, but it's good. And Dead Rising 1 and 2 were great. Dead Rising K0 was great. So Dead Rising 3, I feel like they're going to do a good job with it. Capcom's coming back. They're also going to have a nice open world, unlike any I've ever seen, but no load times, which I'm really excited about. No loading times, you all. No loading times. But I did notice for the demo of this, they did have some lag and some frame rate drops, which Capcom seems to do on their alphas and betas and pre-releases. So hopefully that'll all be corrected by the time the game comes out. And they also have artillery strikes, which is going to be really cool. But moving on from that, we have Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Witcher 3 definitely looks good. I was very impressed because, see, in my head, I was thinking of the Xbox port of Witcher 2, which was terrible compared to the PC version, but Witcher 3 looks so good, and they did confirm they're going to be using DirectX 11 graphics, which before this we were using DirectX 9 on, current-gen consoles, and the Wii U uses DirectX 10, which nobody really uses. So, if you're going to go with DirectX 10, but you want to be cheap, you might as well just downgrade to DirectX 9. But DirectX 11, we have those full graphics. They're taking advantage of the hardware, which is really great to see. Quite excited to see that. I've never played the Witcher games, but I think I do have the first one on Steam, but I still need to play it. Anyways, going on to Battlefield 4, here's where the first-person shooters come in, at the end. Now, Battlefield 4, first off, this was embarrassing, okay? The guy who was in charge of everything comes out, he says, here's some more footage from Battlefield 4, and at first they show the trailer, and there's no audio, again, and everyone starts laughing. And then he's like, then everything just goes black. He's like, okay, well, wait a minute, you all, we're going to start over. And he's just, standing there, just waiting. And people are, yelling at him, and he's so embarrassed. He's, playing with his jacket and all that. And he's like, okay, well, I guess we're not going to be showing it. Oh, wait, we are? Oh, well, we're not? Okay, and then, he walks into the back, and then he comes back out, and then he walks back, and he comes back out, and then they show everything, and it's good to go, but one of the most awkward things, I felt the awkwardness through my TV screen. It must have been really embarrassing because there were millions of people watching worldwide, but I can't even feel for that guy, honestly. But anyways, on console, Battlefield 4 will be running at 60 frames a second, unlike Battlefield 3 that was running at a pitiful 30 frames a second for a game that was supposed to be running at 60 frames or beyond. They were showing uncut footage, but honestly, I wasn't really impressed. It looked good, but I'm not a Battlefield fan. I'm not a Call of Duty fan either, but I was just kind of waiting for it to be over. I can say, though, thank you, EA, for this being your only thing on the Microsoft stage. Because at every E3, EA ends up taking the stage for Microsoft's press conference for 20 or 30 minutes out of an hour-and-a-half conference, and it's so boring to see every time. So there were no sports this time around, which I was so happy about. Now, next up, they had a new indie game that was coming out. It's called Below, and they were trying to say, oh, well, this is the type of indie game that can only be done on the Xbox One platform here at Microsoft. I wasn't impressed at all, especially since they said that, because it looks like a game. First off, they barely showed gameplay. We don't know what the game is about. We don't have a release date, and it looked like an indie game that you can buy on PC. I've seen so many indie games like Below. It's just new because console gamers really haven't played that many really good indie games, really unique indie games. So it's unique to them, but if you've even, glanced over at PC, there's so many indie games. And the problem that I have with indie games is that a bunch of them tend to copy each other. That's my qualm with them. But aside from that, wasn't impressed by that. Really not a good thing to show. Now, they said that they have 5 studios that they've invested money into. One of them is Black Tusk Studios, and they showed their new engine, which looked great. They had a demo, very detailed, very clean. But at the same time, it's I don't really want to see tech demos, okay? Because they can be anything. There's many times I've seen tech demos that look better than final games. They look better than anything that was out on that platform. Nintendo, they had Space World 2000, where they had, that realistic-looking version of Legend of Zelda, which was supposed to be Ocarina 2, but that didn't come out. The Wii U had an amazing-looking tech demo. I think it was a Hummingbird tech demo or something. And there's no games on the Wii U that even come close to that in graphics. So, you know what? Tech demos, they're cool, but I really don't think they're a system seller. It's like, unless you can say this is a game and it's coming out, at this time, and this is how it looks, I'm not going to be impressed with it. Now, the next thing they had, they were trying to play it off as a tech demo, and it kind of was, but it was the new Halo. They had a Halo teaser from 343 Industries, and my God, it looked so good. The sand, just all the details of everything, it looked insane. And when you were looking at it, it looked like, not The Last of Us, but The Last Guardian. It really reminded me of that. But then at the end, Master Chief, like his hood comes off and you see his helmet. It was insane, you all. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. No confirmation, no release date, no name. It was just a Halo teaser, and they were wanting to show what their in-house engine can do, but I am so excited for that. That was an engine I'm really excited about, because 343 and Bungie have always lived up to the hype. At least in my opinion, they have. And they have also said that the new Halo is going to be at 60 frames a second. Great to see. This generation is really paying attention to performance, which I'm really happy to see. Dedicated servers and graphics look great. They really do. The final game they showed was Titanfall. And this game definitely looked good. It's a first-person shooter, but you also control mechs and all that. And I feel like it is the Mech Assault that we missed this generation, but it's going to be coming next generation. Because Mech Assault was definitely a great game that was on the original Xbox, and we really didn't get anything like it. I mean, we had, no, we didn't have Front Mission. Well, we had Front Mission. Yeah, I don't know if it was really like that, but there was one game, Chrome Hounds, that was it. Chrome Hounds came out. That was close, but it was really slow-paced. And they ended up cutting the online servers for that years ago, so don't really know what to say about that, but Titanfall looks good. Aside from that, the only things I said, which I'm going to be repeating right now, comes November. At the end, they said it will come out November 2013. It's going to be $499, €499, and 429 pounds worldwide. So the US, we have the cheapest one, and even for me, that's a bit steep. But Microsoft, I can say, definitely screwed over the other people when it came to pricing. So that was it. Microsoft press conference. I'm not impressed with the price. I don't know, the price is getting to me. I'm not impressed with the price, but I'm happy that they didn't show a whole bunch of TV. They showed only games, and I'm very happy with their game lineup. But aside from that, I enjoyed the press conference. We're going to see what Sony has to offer, and I really don't want to watch Nintendo Direct, to be honest, because, where do you even watch Nintendo Direct? Seriously. But I don't know. And by the way, with Nintendo, that was a very dumb move by Iwata. Very dumb move not having a Nintendo press conference at E3. Like, really? Really? I don't know. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thanks for watching this unedited video, everyone. So, time to upload it to YouTube.